Hello, good evening, and welcome back. So, you can't pay your way to get a vaccine, but you can pay your way to avoid the quarantine altogether. Yep, quarantine rules to be relaxed for business travellers. So, quarantine rules are said to be eased for business travellers in England. There is of course, specific requirement for this, that they say, in each case, the business trips must result in a deal which creates or preserves 50 jobs or leads to a £100,000 investment or order, according to the Department for Transport. I see no way in which this is abused whatsoever. Preserving 50 jobs? Yeah, no chance whatsoever. How many business trips are there where people, of course, go around and enjoy the fun scenarios, the situations, the environments of which they find themselves in? And of course, this business dealing can't be done anywhere else. It has to be done face to face and, just over a cup of coffee or some expensive champagne. It clearly has to be done that way. No other way. It's a similar thing to small businesses having savvy accountants saying, yeah, if you take your partner out for a meal, you can put it off as a tax write-off for a business meeting as long as you discuss finances at least once during that meal. It's a very similar thing. So yes, of course, this can be used in a very similar manner. But it is yet another example, of course, of one rule for the rich and one rule for the rest of us. And this is only possible through lobbying, through bigger government, through special privileges, which is why we're all for small government. And it's got to be said that surely this whole COVID kerfuffle has seen one of the biggest wealth transfers in history from the poor to the rich. That a lot of the money that's been coming out is down to just creating money, just printing through quantitative easing, if you will. And where's that money been going? Well, you could say, well, it's been going to those most affected. So, oh, fantastic. And where have they been putting their money? To the few companies that are able to stay open, to vaccine producers, big pharma, if you will. It's like, right. Aren't those companies the ones that already had a lot of money in the first place? So, yes. So the money's been given indirectly to them, because it's been given to those worst affected, apparently, who have then spent it on the only places which they could in order to continue their survival, which are the bigger businesses. So again, it's just the wealth transfer. And the ones that haven't received the money, of course, see all their savings lose value because there is more money in circulation. Yep. Right. So what's been put here of £100,000 investment, or preserving or creating 50 jobs, seems to just be an extension of this, attenuation, if you will, to say that, yeah, as long as you've got money, then you can do whatever you want to do. I was like, yeah, so you might have earned the money in the first place, and if so, then more power to you. Congratulations. But does that mean you should have a different law? No, it doesn't. Does that mean then that if somebody is trying to create a new business and they can only create 20 jobs, they're not allowed to? Like, yes, apparently so. And it's that kind of thing which I really don't appreciate. And the idea is that, as the Right Honourable Grant Shapps says, new business travellers exemption from 4 a.m. on Saturday, 5th of December. High value business travellers, yes, they're admitting people of value, will no longer need to self-isolate when returning to England from a country not in a travel corridor, allowing more travel to support the economy and jobs. Conditions apply. So travellers will have to demonstrate in an exemption letter that they are delivering these business benefits to the UK. And exemptions apply to performing arts workers, TV production staff, journalists, and recently signed sports professionals. So there are more as well. What does it take to be a journalist? That really depends. What your political leanings are, essentially, as to whether or not they will permit you to go through. And it depends, of course, on who you're working for. If you're trying to be a self-employed journalist, if I were to try and do these things, for example, then no, of course not. Because I'm not an important enough journalist. I have the wrong opinions. So, no. So it's great. Not only is it for people who can bribe their way in, but it's also for people who have the correct political leanings. So they say that exceptions are made for people coming from the Common Travel Area, the Republic of Ireland, the Channel Islands or the Isle of Man, or countries in travel corridors with England. The government said that Public Health England did not expect the new rules for business travellers to increase the risk of coronavirus transmission in the UK. Nevertheless, it said the measures would remain under review. And they are technically true, insofar as the amount of people that can actually provide such deals within England are very few and far between, so it's going to be very few people. However, However, of course, they're saying that, yes, the economy is this important. Okay, cool. So those jobs that are being created, seeing as they need a face-to-face meeting, how many of them can be done if you continue these restrictions? Oh, not many, if any. Right, so it's not really making any difference. Or they could just be done online, in which case surely that person could have created those jobs online in the first place. So it doesn't really matter because it could all be done remotely. Okay, fair enough. Or if you're that intrigued in getting the economy reopened, then surely it matters more that people can actually do those jobs that they've already been provided and assigned to and hired for. Surely then that is more important. But again, apparently not. So, as far as I can see, it's supposed to be framed in the way of, oh, this will be good for the economy. But what it's actually done is said, like, hey, British government, us rich guys, we'd still like to be able to travel around and not have to interfere with those unwashed masses and have to interact with them and be covered by the same rules as they are, because, hey, money buys you power and privilege, don't you know? So we would much rather have those privileges bestowed upon us and returned to us. We do not give a shit about them. So is there a way that you think you can allow us to enjoy our lives without having to interact with those peasants? And of course, the British government said, yeah, as long as you can pay that price, you'll be given special privileges. It's like, brilliant. Does that mean I can get the vaccine? Not in England, no, but I can point you to a country where you can. So it's fine. You can get that and come back if you want, because you got the money for it. Just not in the UK. It doesn't look good. It's like, don't you think this doesn't look good either? Yeah, we can frame this better for the economy, so it's all right. And as far as I'm concerned, in a very cynical view, that is pretty much it. And you'll know, of course, that I am a staunch capitalist, and I do think that, you know, if you got the means of the money, provided that you got it because you're providing value to other people and not because you've lobbied government to say that you're the only option available, then you've earned it. Well done. People have willingly given you their money, which is just a reflection of how much work and value they've given to other people. In which case, because they're willingly giving you their money, it's because of a value that you have provided to them. In which case, fair enough, you have earned it. But capitalist means without government involvement. So if the government are now getting involved to give special privileges to people, then that is where we draw the line. Because capitalism is all down to the free market, and the minute the government gets involved, it is no longer a free market. So that is where there is no contradiction, and it is very straightforward. But as always, let me know what you guys think down below. Is it better to say, no, you know, the rest of us, we don't know what we're doing, but those privileged elites, they've clearly earned it and they deserve it, and we should just follow what they say, and if they think that it's okay, then it's okay, and if they've put themselves in that position, then they've earned it, they deserve it, and they should definitely have it. Or if you think, well, no, I'm not a communist, that I don't think everybody should be equal in that regard of equal outcome, but I do think that the law should be applied equally and not draw delineations based on these things. It's bad enough with a justice system that you can get off if you've got a good enough barrister that the poor people can't afford, but taking it to this extent by just writing it into law is really taking the piss. Either way, let me know down below. Always intrigued to hear what you have to say, and as always, until next time, have a good one.